books, 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 books. Hi! It has been a while. I have been very busy with exams and studying for exams. But I am back, and today I have a book haul for you guys because I have accumulated a few books in the past few months. The first book on this pile is a book that I've received a while ago. I believe it was a Christmas present. I got it a little late. I got it like 2 months ago. It is The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya by Nagaru Tanigawa, or something like that. Now, as I've mentioned on my channel before, a few years ago I used to be really into manga and anime, and there's a fairly well-known anime called The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, or Suzumiya Haruhi no Yutsu, and that's actually an adaptation of this novel series, which has been translated into English. I wasn't the biggest fan of the anime, but I've read some fan translations of one of the novels before, and that was actually really entertaining. So I'm really looking forward to get back into this world. And for those of you who don't know, this story is about a girl named Haruhi who is very frustrated with her mundane high school life, and she wants to meet aliens and time travelers and ESPers and supernatural creatures and just have adventures. Little does she know that all of those things actually exist, and they are all in her class. The next two books are classics that I got for my literature reading list that I have to complete for my state exams. And the first one is To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. This book has been on my to-read list for a very long time. The story has always intrigued me, and then I found this really pretty vintage classics edition that I just really like, and I figured now with my state's exams is a good time to finally read this. I actually picked this up before the sequel was announced, but I suppose if I like it I'll pick up the sequel too. The next book is also a classic for my English literature reading list, and this one I am very excited about because I have wanted to read this book for ages, and now I finally have a good excuse. Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. First of all, can we talk about how gorgeous these editions are? They are vintage classics editions, and they have the entire Jane Austen collection in these editions, and they are just so stunning, and they have like pretty end papers as well, and I really hope I like this and that I like Jane Austen's writing, because if I do, I am going to buy all of these suckers. And the next book I got here was kind of a surprise, and that is Perfect by Ellen Hopkins. I actually got this as a gift from my friend Trisha. She had brought it with her on her trip to Europe. But she wasn't really reading it, and she had also brought her Kindle with lots of other books on that, so I guess she was just reading from that. Apparently she had an extra copy of this at home, and I was just kind of looking at this and admiring the cover, and while I was looking at this, Trisha was just like, oh yeah, you know, you can have that if you want. So she gave it to me, which is really nice, so thanks again, Trisha. And as you might know, all of her books are written in free verse, and I have never read a book before that's written that way, so I'm very curious to dive into this and see if I like the free verse format. Last month I graduated from college. I had like my final exam thingy for that, and I passed it, so to celebrate my mom gave me a book voucher, which I then got to spend, and I also bought 2 books with that. The first one I ended up buying with that is Behemoth by Scott Westerfeld. This is the sequel to Leviathan and the second book in the Leviathan trilogy. I read Leviathan last year and I really enjoyed that one, so obviously I had to get the sequel. This is a steampunk, fantasy, historical fiction kind of series that is set during World War I. The last book I got is probably the one that I am most excited about, and that is Yes Please by Amy Poehler. I've already read this, or actually I listened to it on audiobook on my phone. But as soon as I started listening to it, I knew that I wanted to get my hands on the physical copy as well. Listening to this was a very great experience, and if you want to read this book, I definitely recommend listening to it because Amy reads the whole thing herself. She has all of these guests coming in, like Michael Schur is there at some point, and her parents, and Seth Meyers does a chapter. There is bits of audio from Parks and Rec, and it's just really great to hear Amy Poehler tell you her life story, because it feels very personal, because it just feels like you're sitting down having a chat with Amy Poehler, and I would recommend that experience to everyone. There are some things that you miss out on if you do read the audiobook, because this book also has pictures and interesting typography and handwritten notes. Basically, it's just really nice graphically, just a really nice book.